Hello, and welcome back to our Twine Endurance AFK builds in Twine Peaks. We are working on Amplifier down here at the beach. So we have two spawns down here. Just to show the map though, this is all the way down at the southeast, with the home base there towards the middle of the map. This is my Amplifier D, so I'm doing this after C. And we're going to start with the south build over here. So if I move over, I can show precisely where they spawn, which is just down on this sort of middle level here, and then some at the bottom as well. But it's mainly going to be around this middle area. So obviously they could either come up here and round through to the amplifier, or they could come up these ramps and then through, there's a hole just here. So what we want to do is guide them through this one and make our main tunnel here, and then block off the other direction to save resources. We obviously don't want to make two trap tunnels, because that's going to take twice as many resources, twice as many traps, and so on. So, the main thing in this area is going to be, as I say, bring them up this path, and then from here, we can then bring them towards the amplifier, where we want to just stop just before the amplifier, because we don't want smashers to charge on that area. Then, up here we can trap them, but at this side we will block anything from getting up. Make sure they can't get up that side. You can even go as far as to sort of block it like this, and even put a wall there if you want. I think I'm going to leave it open because we can put a ceiling electric field there, and that will zap across. And we can also put one above there as well to get the double damage. Not sure how effective this one will be, but I think it's, you know, it's an extra bit of damage we could potentially get, which is always useful. As we come up, we could potentially put a wall here, but I don't think we'll be able to do anything with it. Maybe a stun, but I'm not sure how effective that would be. But if we put a floor here, that will just stop the enemies from wanting to sort of squirm their way under there, you know, the little huskies, or any smashers and mini bosses. Blah, blah, blah. I cannot speak. So yeah, this is where they're coming up. This is the main sort of area we're bringing them up. The high walls here wouldn't be necessary because we can't do damage with that. But if we get a wall at the back, once we've got ceilings placed, so I'll just do that now, just so we can place it. Because we can put wall darts on that there, which will then shoot the enemies as they're up here. Up here we can do a little room that we can damage them from with a small wall, like so. It's probably going to be useful to put a floor here and edit it in such a way that it's going to stop them from wanting to break through. Because, you know, this will sort of circumvent the trap tunnels, so we don't want them to do that. It's up to you which side you want to put it on. It doesn't really matter too much. It's just acting as an extra wall, this floor piece. So it's not overly important. Here we can do extra damage as well. If we then do small walls for dynamos. You could also put a floor here. And if we angle it in such a way, it will stop them from wanting to break through this area, because we don't want them to, you know, try skip this corner. It's far enough away that the smashers shouldn't charge it, but we can do extra damage. We can also put one there to get extra damage, as well as there. We can get two here. This little corner here, we can't really do much in the ways of damage, because wall darts here wouldn't hit the tunnel, and here wouldn't hit the tunnel. So you could probably block it off if you really want to, but nothing's going to be able to get anywhere from up here. So you can just leave it closed, or open even. That's the opposite of what I should have said. Probably want to just put lower walls to stop stuff from wanting to sort of break out. I don't know why they would, but, you know, Save the World's weird, and the AI is weird. Full wall at the back there. We're not going to put traps on it, but it'll just stop anything from wanting to, you know, shrivel its way out of this little corner. Important here is to block this with that. Just stop anything from wanting to break out this corner. This is where we blocked the floor, so you can probably get away with less, like perhaps just the cone, or get rid of the back wall, but I'm just going to add the extra just to be safe. But as you can see from over here, they can't get up here anyway. It would just be sort of flingers that would want to try and get out there. You could potentially put a cone here like that to stop them from wanting to break out of this little area as well. That shouldn't be needed though, because we have blocked this off, so I'm going to leave that without. And if you do need structures back, you can probably feel free to get rid of some of this, as it shouldn't all be needed. Then throughout the trap tunnel, we're obviously going to need ceilings on this, so we can do damage from all of these, which is the beauty of trap tunnels. Throughout here, we can then do wall darts at the sides, and low walls here for dynamos. Keep the ceilings going. Now, when it gets to here, I tend to avoid building too close to the amplifier. Even roofs can sometimes, trigger smashes and stuff. If you put roofs here, like, they obviously can't break them because they're in the sky. Like, they're not going to be able to reach those. So you should be fine putting damage on there if you need to. We'll leave them in, but just don't build any walls this close, because that will trigger smashers to smash, and we don't want them to do that. So we can leave it like that. But here, be plenty enough. And then now that we've got that built, we can sort of cover the ceiling traps down here. So you can add one here if you want, just to cover if they, wanted to try break into this area. But the main bit is going to be sort of over this area. How far back you want to go is up to you. Some will spawn down here, so you can do another layer. You could put some here as well. But the main spawn is going to be sort of central to this ramp here. So, we don't need to go too far over to each side, because, like, traps here, for example, wouldn't affect as much. You could put ceiling zap traps on them, the ceiling electric field, because that will jump over to the middle. But it's just extra traps that we don't really need. So I'm probably going to stop at the ramp. As I said, if you do need more, you can add it in that position there. I'm not going to be able to get up there now. I get back up to break that. If you don't have the absolute best perks, for example, on your traps. We can't build any walls down here because these will get broken by the spawn. So that's all we can do in terms of damage for there. Now we can block off the other areas. So as we've shown before with these sort of cliff steps, the husks can't get up the bigger jumps, like they can't hop like we can. So they will only be able to get up these bits. So all we need to do is just cover those like so, and that should cover there. And then if we edit them like so, they will act as walls as well. And then if we place actual walls behind, and then cones, which should be facing where they're coming from, like that. That should be enough, and then just walls at the front, and then we can put wall spikes on these to deter the enemies. And then there's one more over here. As you can see, there's a little step here, so we need to cover this, which does cover 2 blocks. Sadly, we can't just cover it with 1, which would be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, when does that ever work out? And then if we just have these cones facing in towards each other to stop them from breaking out around the sides, and then you can put walls on them as well. You probably don't need the ones at the back, but we're going a bit over the top with it, and we can probably add any more additions here when we come to building the east direction. So I'll just leave it as those for now. So I think that does it in terms of block offs. Now we just need a lobber shield, which we can start from up here and build up. That's the wrong angle now. Like so. And then if we do this, we're basically just going to go as far as we have built here. So we turn it here by editing the cone, if it'll let me. It really won't. Okay. Then we can carry this on over here. This is going to act, obviously, as the east direction. We might as well build it now. If we go all the way over here, and probably one more, because we're going to be bringing them through here. So we need to make sure we block that. And then if we bring this down, and then get the corner here, like so. They shouldn't be able to get through this bit. They're not going to be able to get an angle from there. This bit just needs to cover, obviously, them standing there. And then at the top, we just want another layer here to stop them from this direction. which takes quite a lot of structures, but, you know, it's just what we've got to do. As far as how far over you need to, you probably don't need that one. If you just look at the amplifier, you can see where they'll be able to throw from, and up to this point, that should cover it. This is obviously only connected by the one tile here. The enemies won't be able to break this, so don't worry about making another connection anywhere else. And when we build the bait and switch for this amplifier, it will connect up to this as well, which will give it extra support. So don't worry about that. But that's everything you need to build for that. Well, we can build the bait and switch now, I suppose. Yeah, why not? It kind of makes more sense to build it after East, I suppose, but I don't want to make the video too long. So we want to get them above the amplifier, so we're going to go up to that hill up there and then cut in. So if we start from this area here, we can bring them up like so. We're going to make them corner like that. We're going to bring them up here like this, and then this will be where we do our design to trick them into thinking there's something actually protecting this thing, even though there's not going to be, because they are stupid. Like that. And this is obviously where this bit is connected, so it's important that this piece stays in one piece, basically. So, you know, that's important. Then if we connect this over here, that gives them a way up. This is quite far away, though, especially for enemies on that side. So what you can do is, from one of these, it probably makes sense from this one over here somewhere to give them a staircase up, because it stops them from having to go too far out of the way, because this bit here will be trap tunnels, and then out here they'll come out, and then they can go up and come across. So just to finish this off, we just need to get our archway underneath to make them think we are stopping the husks from being able to get to the amplifier. Trick them. The bait is set, and then the switch is over here. On any of these, really, it doesn't matter too much which ones. We can drop them down. So if we have 2 walls there, we can do our stun on these. You could do 3 if you want. 2 should be enough, though. So if we edit it like this, the enemies will have to come right to the edge here, and then the wall lights will knock them down into this gap down here, and then they'll have to walk all the way around up there and do it all again. So absolutely beautiful stuff. That should be enough for this direction, so I'll go ahead and level all that stuff up while showing you the perks and such, and then I will be back in a second. The anti-air trap 1 range on there for durability. Ceiling drop trap, so we're going for a crit build on this one as well. Ceiling electric field, we're going for a crit build once again, you know it. Floor freeze trap, so for this one we've got 2 impact and knockback. Floor launcher, so for whacking all the impact and knockback on there. Tar pit trap, so for this one I like to go for full durability. Wall darts, another crit build, another all-rounder build. The wall dynamo trap, so for this one I've gone for energy. Wall launcher, so for this one we've got 3 impact and knockback. Wall lights, so another 3 impact, 2 reload speed. Wall spikes here, we've gone for crit build, so 2 crit rating, 2 crit damage. Wooden floor spikes, so crit build on this one, that's pretty much. Thank you so much for watching to this point. If you are enjoying the video, please do let me know in the comments. But also, I am on the supporter creator program, so if you could please use my code CAMBYG, and be sure to subscribe as well to get all future videos. Thank you so much. Alright, now that you've got all that stuff put down, I did actually miss 2 ceilings here. I just forgot. You didn't make sure there's ceilings throughout the whole thing. So make sure you place those down. I have leveled all this stuff up to level 3. You don't need to. Like, this stuff can be wood if you want it to be, you know, if you don't have as much material. I have loads of material now because I have an infinite map grinder, which I can link the video to that if you do want that, because I like the look of it all being level 3 metal. I don't know, it just feels weird to not have it that. But now that we've got all this stuff placed down, we can trap it. So we'll start near the amplifier. So in this area, we're going to do high damage on the last ones through here. And then at the side, we want ceiling electric field, because those will zap over into the middle. The last floors here want to be tar pit. The last two will do wall dynamos on these low walls, wall darts at the back to fire in the trap tunnels. As we come through here, these are all going to be broadside. This is the best traps to put here. It's just a fact. Try argue with me in the comments if you want, but that is the best trap you can use. For the floor, we're going to then do freeze to this point, and then for these ones, we can do wooden floor spikes. You might be able to get away with some... Oh, I forgot to level that one up. You might be able to get away with some floor traps here. Like I said, the spawn is quite close here. So, you could even try put walls here with broadsides on. They might disappear. I'm going to leave them in for now, though, and put wooden floor spikes on these. And well, you can even do it on the sides, actually. Like that, because enemies will walk up like this and go diagonally. I'm just going to put it on the middle one, though. And then, as I say, we'll put broadsides here. That will be really effective damage, which is, always useful to have. You could do wall darts on these ones, or you can use stun for propane tanks to, try and make them to drop the propane tanks and bulk them all up and spread them out a little bit if you can. I think honestly, it's up to you. I'm going to go for damage with wall darts. But if I do end up testing this and changing it, just obviously check the description, because I can put any updates and such there. Can't put anything on this side of that, but on the other side we can put wall darts. As they come up on these walls, we're going to do stun on one side. So I'm going to use wall lights and then broadside on the other side, because this will still bounce back and forward. This will stun them, keep them in place for a bit, drop propane tanks, all that good stuff. Under here we can get a ceiling electric field, which, as I say, I'm not sure how effective it will be at zapping across, but I'm hoping it will do a little bit at least. This one here can be ceiling electric field to zap inwards as well. In fact, you can do that here as well and put a ceiling electric field. I left that blank initially because, it's covering just this hill here, but we can do damage with that, which is useful. As we come through in all these little pockets at the side, we'll do ceiling electric field. Throughout the middle here as well, actually, we're going to do ceiling electric field. The reason being, like this trap here, for example, will affect, everything here to here, to here, and to here. Because it is an area of effect, it will zap them all, which is what we want. We want these to just damage everything. So it makes sense to do that. On the low walls, wall dynamos throughout this. There's another wall that hasn't been upgraded fully. Interesting. On these walls, further back, wall darts. I'd love to use broadside, but, the low walls makes them not as effective as they should be. And then on here, we want a wall launcher. If I can get one prepared. Don't use these as much as I used to. What you can do to help that wall launcher out as well is just put an extra wall here. Whether it be a small wall like that or a tall, thin one. Either way, if you do end up seeing charges smash this, though, it may happen to some people. It affects different people differently. Just get rid of that. But it just gives them a bit of extra distance to be hit by that as they come up. Then through here, we can put wall darts here, which will affect slightly through this cone. Can't do anything on that wall. And then here, it doesn't really make sense to do broadside, so we're just going to put a wall darts instead. I haven't done this ceiling. This one's going to be a gas trap. And then I'll just do these two. Well, I'll do all these ones while we're here. There's not that many, so I don't need to fast forward through it. We're just going to do tire drop trap on all of these. And as I said before when I placed them down, don't know what's happening to my accent now, but as we go further down, you can add more. You can add another layer of 3 here if you want. If you're seeing, high spikes of enemies that aren't dying because your traps aren't leveled up or don't have as higher durability as they should. My accent's going so weird in this video. Don't know what's happening. But yeah, if you start seeing that, obviously, feel free. I might get rid of this cone at some point just to get the wall darts to do more damage. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, you should be fine if you have, high level traps, maxed out tier 5 with gold perks and the perks that I show. you should be fine, so I wouldn't worry about it if you do have that. Then what we can do is put down our traps for our bait and switch. So, oh, actually, one thing I did forget to mention is just put a wall there. That way, if anything does destroy this floor, this whole thing doesn't break down. But speaking of breaking this floor, we can put wooden floor spikes on here. It should deter anything, mini bosses, smashers, from breaking it. Because they're getting damaged by it, they won't want to destroy it. They'll want to just move on and get away from the damage. So that's the only thing we need there. Then over here, we want our stun traps to knock the enemies down, the big boys. Knock the big boys down. Over here, we should put our wooden wall spikes on these, which will damage the enemies. You shouldn't need it on this side, but I'll just place it on all of them anyway. It's useful for healing them, if nothing else. If it's not actually going to deal damage to the enemies because they're not hitting there, for example. Then once we've placed that should be everything placed down. So that's all your traps for the south direction. And then we can go ahead and do the east direction. So thank you so much for watching. Obviously, as always, please do like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help support me because I am just doing this outside of my 9-to-5 job. So it's hard to find the time outside of Christmas holidays. So please do support me in that way if you do find the videos useful. If you don't find them useful, obviously don't, give the positive feedback. Let me know your criticism in the comments. I do read the comments. So we are now on Beach Amplifier East direction. We've built the south direction. I can link the video for that. Or, if you're just continuing, that's perfect. So for the east direction, they've got quite a wide spawn. So obviously we've got this massive gap down here, and they can spawn on that side, over there, or on the left down here, just below this ramp. So what we're going to do is bring them just right next to this gap on either side, and we're just going to drop them down, and then they have to go all the way down there, up there, and they'll have to go all the way back up again. Now, smashers and mini-bosses might make it through, but that's fine. That's why we have this bait and switch here built, which we went over last time, which will take them up, and they'll keep dropping down here. But for the main build, as I said, there's a spawn down here. So what we're going to do is just make them go through the center of this ramp, instead of being able to go through all of it. It means we will have to use fewer traps, and save that way. So you shouldn't need to use cones on top of this. The enemies shouldn't really be wanting to go through the sides. So you can probably avoid doing that. Once they get to the top here, we're going to then shift them to the left, bring them through here. You may have been noticing there is a lava bomb here though, so we can place what we can, but the lava bomb's obviously just going to destroy some of it, which can't really be avoided. You can shift it somewhat, but like these two, for example, will pretty much always get destroyed. But you should be able to keep the walls. They shouldn't be hit. So we can have those, which is useful because we do need that. We can get ceilings across this. Obviously, as I said, this bit we can't, but don't worry about lobbers and flingers. We have that sorted already. We need to make sure we are getting walls throughout this entire thing, though. Once we get to this point, it's not as important because by this point, we will have knocked off all of the smaller enemies or just killed them, Either way, it's a success, right? But I can eventually get this thing to spawn again and show. But we do need to block this path up here because they could just walk straight to the amplifier by going up here. So what we can do is just cover this ramp, cones on top, and we've already got a wall covering it as well. So there's where the lava bomb. Obviously, we can't place anything here. What you can do is go up 3 blocks if you want. So that's one more on top of where I am now. I just got knocked off by placing that. And then you can do some damage there if you want. That is quite a lot of extra, resources just to damage as they come through this area. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. If you are seeing issues or your traps are low durability, any of that stuff, then please feel free to go ahead and do that and put tire traps on top. But otherwise, you shouldn't have any issues. For this bit, they shouldn't be wanting to break through or out. You know, this is a pretty direct route we are taking them on. So having these cones and floors should be enough, but should you need to place any more, just put walls behind them. Stop them from wanting to get up. But as I said, that should be plenty enough. Yeah. Place some ceilings on these. So, I mean, at this point, you can probably get rid of some of the lobber shield if you want, but I'm just going to leave it because obviously when lobbers get to this point, they would be able to target it otherwise. We can just do damage on this bit at least as the enemies come through. What you can do is add more ceilings to the side because we can put ceiling electric fields on those as they come through. You can do the same thing over here as well. You know, all these can be damage. Even walls, you know, with darts on, if you really want to go over the top with it. It depends how, as I say, once again, I feel like I repeat myself every time, but if your traps aren't, you know, perfect gold perks and everything like that, you may need, you know, these extra walls for some more damage. I might do a few just in the key areas. So by that, I mean, this one looks across this entire, you know, corridor. Same with this one, it looks all the way through. So I'm going to put it on those ones. The only thing that might be worth doing here is if you have really, really high impact wall launchers, there's a chance they could end up flinging them onto the other side, which is, you know, where they're trying to get knocked down as well. So putting walls here would help in that circumstance, because then they get flung into the wall and then fall down instead. The damage is useful as well for smashers and such. So, you know, go with your gut, I guess. Or just perfectly copy what I'm doing. That's perfectly fine as well. You know, with sorry, we need that one. I was just thinking we can do extra damage, but this one is where we're going to be knocking them down, so make sure that is remained there. And then at this point, I mean, you can add extra stuff. I think I'm going to avoid it. This one maybe as well. The reason being is this one here, the smasher might see this as a threat and charge it. So I'm just going to leave that one blank, and then we'll probably leave that there. As I say, the small enemies are not going to make it through, you know, with all the damage we have. Because over here where the spawn is, didn't mean to overjump there, we can add extra ceilings across this, across the spawn, which will have, you know, tire drop traps and such over them. I don't think you want to add any more than this, because any more to the side, you're not going to catch many enemies with it. You could go back one if you want, on where the actual grass is. I don't think there's going to be too many spawning this far back. You know, it will generally be a bit closer over there. So it's up to you if you want to add more in. Feel free. I'm going to leave it as it is for now, though. Then over here, the other spawn, as I said, was back here. So we've already blocked off this path when we built the other direction, but we didn't add any more here. So what we want to do, there's a few ways you can go about it. So you can just bring them across like this, which is I think what we'll go for. Or you could let them come through this area and, you know, get rid of that wall. And when you get over here, just carry them on, you know, through this bit. As I say, either way works fine, but we need to avoid them coming into this area here, because we're going to use walls here to knock them down. So we obviously need these walls. But if we bring them all the way across with this bridge, as I've done, that means we get five blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 blocks where we get to push them down. And then if we place walls, that will obviously stop them from doing that. So what I'm going to do is just reinforce. Just wondering whether to get rid of that wall or not. We can reinforce this. If we adjust that, we can put a floor there as well. And edit that the same way. It's not letting me do it. Like that. And then a wall behind. So this now blocks off the entire way and acts as extra blockage. Now you might want to do more behind to stop them, you know, from coming through here. So you can add another layer here, like such. Any more behind here is probably unnecessary, but if you do notice them hitting this stuff more than you'd like, then obviously add more blockage. But that should be plenty, because they're not going to really want to come down here because they just go straight there to the amplifier. But what we can do is block from here as well, just like that. We'll do that actually. At this point, you can do it the whole way if you like. It's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to save structures, you can build less, but this will be good. All of these will obviously, as I say, act as ways to knock them down into the pit, just like we have at the other side. What you might want to do as well, as we've done before, or well, I say before, at the other side, is just add this. It will act as extra damage, but it will also act as a way to stop them from going all the way to the other side. Although obviously you can see we have the walls from that side, which would stop them in that case. But I'm gonna do it like this. Any build here is gonna get broken by the lava bomb. Then once we've built the entrance to our tunnel here, what we need to do is build high up like this. Because of the lava bomb, our tire drop traps will be up here, but because it's 3 blocks up, they won't get damaged by the lava bomb. As always, it's up to you how much you want to place here trap-wise and how far out you want to go. I'll probably leave it like this. Any more is probably overkill, because the main point of this build is to drop them down here and then have them come back up over there. So, you know, if you want to save resources, you can get rid of some of this stuff. It's probably not all necessary. Like, you probably don't need any of this stuff. But I like to kill as much as we can in spawn, and then the rest will obviously come through here and get dropped down. So at this point, you can add, you know, your walls like the other way here if you want. Just don't add ceilings, because this is where we're dropping the mini bosses and smashers down. So if you place a ceiling here, they won't drop, they'll just go on top of it. You don't really need the walls. You can probably place one there if you really want, but then at the end you don't need it. You can connect this up fully here as well at this side, and then we'll place a tire trap on it, a tar pit even. Always get them mixed up to this day. But now we'll follow down here where they would go. So they're obviously going to drop down here, and then the way they get back up is beautiful stuff. Right up there where that ramp is there, you can just see it start on the grass. Now, if you want to make their lives more difficult, you can sort of add walls as you go, so they have to walk in the water. It's probably most important on this one, if anything else, right there. Because then they'll have to go through the water. You can do it again, you know, wherever, over there. They might try squeeze around there. I don't think the AI can pass through there. It just makes them take a bit longer. It's up to you whether you want to do that or not. Then as they come up these ramps, we can do some damage if we want. It's not overly necessary to do it, because, you know, as they walk up, they're going to come through these tunnels again. So it's up to you. I'll leave that up to you. I'm probably going to leave it without traps. If you were to put any traps, though, just to show you, if you were to, you probably want to do like that. Just do a damage on that one, and then a tire on that, which will fall down and roll all the way down the hill. I mean, I can leave these two on, just so that you know how it works. At least, then you have that. Then they're going to walk up this hill. Again, you could do something like this at the top. They won't really come up that side because, well, it's longer. So you just do the same sort of thing. Damage there, ceiling, tire drop, and then they'll walk all the way over here, come up this ramp, which is, you know, near where they spawn anyway. So once they get up this ramp, they're going to get hit by these traps, so we don't need to build anything extra there. So as far as, you know, structures, that should be plenty of stuff. The only thing you want to watch out for is the enemies may try come up this side here to flank around up there and then across to the amplifier. So what you can do is just cone on top, wall like so, add these, and that should be plenty of deterrence to stop them from wanting to get through. It is a bit of a longer route that way anyway than the one we've built them through here, so they shouldn't be wanting to wander too far. But yeah, now that we've got all that stuff placed, this is a lot for one amplifier. I know, as I said, you can strip back some of it if you need the resources and you need the structures, but I'll level this stuff up and then I can show you where the traps go. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in a second. Right, now that you've got that stuff leveled up, we can go ahead and start placing the traps. So on these ones right next to the amplifier, we want to be putting tar pit traps. I mean, throughout this whole thing, really, you want either tar pit or freeze. I guess it probably depends on which one you have the best durability on when it comes to the end of the day. So I have 49 on the freeze and 90 on the tar pit. So I'm going to go ahead and put the tar pits down on these. This one here is a damage block, so we're going to go for wooden floor spikes. I just added these wooden bits just so I can access and upgrade the walls. That's the only reason they're there. Don't worry about worrying that you missed them from the first bit. Then tar pits through this thing as well. Probably should have mentioned when I built it, but you know, this is probably one of the builds that you could strip back the most from, because the build is centered around dropping them down and having them go up and all the way back round. It's less important that we deal loads of damage. So, you know, if you do need resources and structures back when you've finished all your other amplifiers, this is probably the one you want to start with and take away some of the traps over spawn, take away probably, you know, some of these walls. You can just have one layer of walls to stop them from flying all the way across. You don't need to put too many traps down in these areas, that sort of thing. You know, as I said, this would be the area where you would want to save. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave it all in because I do really like damaging the enemies loads. But yeah, enough chatter. Let's go ahead and put more of our traps down. At this point here, it's only really going to be the big boys, you know, mini bosses, smashers. You probably don't even need that wall, to be honest. Here, I'll just go broadside because it can do impact and it'll bounce back and forward. But, you know, as I said, you don't really need it. These floors were placed anyway for the bait and switch we built, but ceiling electric field to zap across. Throughout all these, I will do that's gas traps even, and then the one away will be the ceiling electric field. As I said, these are you can probably do without the actual traps here, because the main idea is just to drop them down. But I'm just putting them on anyway, and we'll see how many we have left once we've built them all. Ceiling zap traps, electric fields to affect inwards on these ones. We'll do a tire drop on this one. And then everything else from here we'll do gas in the center. That one can be a ceiling electric field as well. These floors can be wooden floor spikes. Just wondering where that led. See where the enemies might be wandering off to. Now that we've placed the traps and stuff, we can get rid of these floors. I mean, you don't need to build them, obviously. In this area here, we can do broadsides because we have two walls looking at each other. And then for this, we'll do spikes. This, we will put a wall launcher, which has disappeared off the list for some reason. On the sides here, we can do broadsides, a wall darts at the back, and we can do wall darts out here as well. But as I said, do pay attention to the description for the video, because I might make an updated version with far less traps in. Once it's been thoroughly tested. You know, they're working for Endurance AFK, but I might be able to skim them down and keep testing and see how many traps I can get rid of, and so on, and I'll keep testing and running it through. Here we can put a wall launcher as well to knock them back out. Over here we can do damage with darts. Don't really need it, but we'll put it anyway. Then at this side, we'll do the same sort of thing. So darts on these walls. Ceiling electric field to zap across. Get rid of the floors. And then in the main bit, we'll do gas. And yeah, as I said before, you know, the main thing with these trap tunnels is to kill the little guys, right? So just the normal husky husks. That's generally what these are made for. You know, these tunnels here. Smashers and mini bosses, it doesn't matter if they die or get knocked down through this, because that's what the bait and switch is for, right? We don't care if they make it to the amplifier, because we've got that built and mitigated ready. So it doesn't make a difference to us. We don't care at all. So it doesn't really matter. The only thing is with endurance, obviously your trap durability is key, and if we put all these at spawn, they might eventually run out of durability, and that doesn't really matter because we still have the build set up to knock them down. But what you can do is if you don't kill the enemies, you know, new waves won't spawn immediately until they're dead. So yeah, it depends how you want to go about it. Up here, I said damage on this wall, but you could do a wall launcher, send them out into the sea, give them a nice swim. It's up to you. Ceiling drop trap there to go all the way down. Just make sure you're facing upwards. On this one, there's no point pushing, I'm not going to go anywhere. We'll just probably, honestly, actually, at this point, let's add more words to my sentence. We'll stun them, and then they'll probably get knocked down again, just to keep them busy. But yeah, I can't iterate enough and reinforce enough that you can probably get rid of, you know, these damage here, the damage throughout here. You can probably get rid of this stuff, and just what I would probably do if you can is just keep these ceilings here with these walls. Get rid of the traps. Make sure you keep the floor and wall here, down that one, and this one. You wouldn't need these walls or ceilings because we'd have this wall to stop them from flying all the way across, and just get rid of the damage. But as I say, I'm going to thoroughly test everything and see how much damage we can get rid of and keep it AFK, because I don't want to give you guys builds that don't work. That's why I am putting all the damage in, because I know it works. And then as I test, I can make these even more efficient. But yeah, those are the traps you'll need, and you're all sorted for your Amplifier D with the south and east direction now built for. So thank you so much for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I really appreciate it. Any feedback, any comments, anything at all, please let me know. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.